Today I'm going to show you how to make a Loom Knit hat. So this is a close-up of my yarn. It's bulky, it's baby alpaca, and it's also hand-dyed. And so this is my yarn, it's one of my tools. Next I'm showing you my loom. It has all pegs in there blue. I can take it apart if I take these pegs out. And if you look very closely, there's very little tissued parts. And then I have my two hooks. This one has a pointy part, this one has a curved part. You can have any kind of hook. And then last but not least, this, you put your yarn in it when this little wrapper is off. And you put the string through the hole so it won't wobble everywhere. And those are my tools. So this used to be a skein, and I just made it into a ball. And if you purchase something at a knitting store and you don't have a yarn swift or a ball winder, then a knitting store would be happy to do it for you. And I bought this yarn at Woolworks in Putnam, Connecticut. So I'm going to show you how to attach your yarn to your loom. You may have no idea what a slip knot is, but that's how we attach our yarn to our loom. You want to leave like a 6 to 10 inch tail. We won't use the tail much till the end. And I'll show you how to make a slip knot. You really want to just do this for a moment. Wrap it around your 2 fingers, leave a little space. And then you take your working yarn, not the part we use at the end, and slip it through and then pull it tight. And voila, you have a slip knot. Here's my tail and here's my working yarn, so we know. And lots of looms have a different color peg for the front. But some have a little part here for the slip knot. So what you want to do is you want to put your slip knot on that one part. You can tighten or loosen it by pulling each yarn, your tail or your working yarn. So we're going to put our tail aside for now. And we're going to take our working yarn and start wrapping. You may not know how to do the E-wrap. All you do is you wrap it around a peg and it'll look like this. And you just keep going around all the way. And for this part you want to wrap down low, but after this row you don't want to, you can wrap high. So it'll look like this. It's nothing tough. But if you don't keep your finger here or something, and sometimes that'll happen. That time I made it, but sometimes all of a sudden it'll happen like, oh, come on, it won't do it. But so you just wrap all the way around. You can wrap up high if it goes faster, because we can push it down in a minute. And you just want to wrap all the way around. It could take a few minutes, and so you just keep wrapping. So for this part you want to wrap all the way around, but later on we'll only do 5 or 10 stitches at a time. So this is like the only time you'll be doing this, at the beginning of the hat. Don't get too used to it, really. So I'm really halfway there, almost done this row. And I have all stitches, so I have a lot of work to do a row, more than you might have. You might have the same amount. And wrapping is one of the 2 main parts. So you want to get pretty used to wrapping, because that's really what it's all about. So you wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap all your pegs. If you're already done, skip ahead. If you can see, I'm almost done. Let me just catch up if you're already done. So you see where I got back to my little gray one? Now I want to just push all the ones that are high down. And you really don't want to wrap these tight. If there's one that doesn't want to go down, you might want to actually just restart and go back to fix it. It might be a little tough pushing these down, but you just slide them down, but you don't want to do one by one. You just want to kind of flip group by group. And this is not as tough as a row. This is not a main part. So now, we actually just go through again. We just start rewrapping. But this time, we want to do like groups of 5, like 5 or 10 stitches at a time. But after we do that, we pick up our hook and we take the bottom wrap and we loop it over the top. But if it's too tight and you can't get it over, it means you wrap too tight and you need to make it more loose. The very beginning stitches are pretty tough, but you'll get used to it. And every time you come back to the beginning of a row, you'll get used to this. It'll be a little tight around, right, these 3. So, just so you know. And so that's all you do. And after these 2 beginning, you just keep doing the same thing over and over. 5, 10, or possibly 10. You can do like 6 or 4. Doesn't have to be exactly. And this is how it will start out your hat. It'll get much longer though. And this won't take an hour or so. This is a long process. So we just keep wrapping. And when you get back to the stitch, there should be 2 little stitches on it. You just wrap, and you'll want to wrap that one. And then you'll see your other row. You'll loop these couple over, but you don't want to split the stitch. That can do damage. And you want to take your time wrapping it over and not make any of these mistakes. But then you wrap the first 2 over for it to help stay sturdy and nice. And then you might want to push these down and just keep going around and around till you have how long you want your brim to be. But you'll want to double that in rows. Last time we only had a row or so. We were just learning the basic knit stitch. But now we have quite some. I'm not sure how much, so I'll need to use my ruler to measure. Let me just get it all nice and straight. About 3 inches. Put this far aside. Now, if you see this flat, nice brim on this other hat, I didn't finish it yet, but if you want it like that, not like this curly brim, you'll need to learn how to do this next step. But if you don't want it like that, you can just skip ahead and just keep knitting round and round till I see you next time. But so we'll need to put our working yarn all the way aside, take our tail, put it up and into this side, to the side we'll go around into, like this. And then we'll nicely take the very, very first stitch we ever knit on our hat and loop it up, back on to to our front. And then we'll loop the bottom stitch over it. And you see how this turned out? That's how we'll want it. It can be quite tricky, but we'll want to take the very next stitch. We want to take the very outer stitch. Oh, wrong one. Got it? Like this. Oh, up right here. It can be very complicated, but you just want to keep doing that all the way around. Next is this little... Oh, wrong one. Silly me. Thought that was a mistake, yep. So I just unlatched it. Then you want to loop it over, and you continue like that. So, after we do a few, it should be knitted on both sides. It'll be flat. And you don't have to pick them up one by one. You can do a couple. And there will be if you put your little hook in between the two stitches and go down, there will be a knitted row of V's. But then you want to pick up the next row. So here's the little knitted row of V's. Here's the little knitted row of V's. And then we want to pick up the stitch. There will be a knitted row of V's in between all these. And so you can pick up a couple at a time, but they will seem tighter. Using the trick can be helpful. So you want to make sure you don't pick up the wrong stitch. So I got these. I can do a couple at a time. They're definitely tight when you do it like this. And it will remember, it will be knitted on both sides, so don't panic if you see it like this, because it's curled around, and it's not curled up like the rest of it is. And just so you know, the tail should be tucked in. And these are just a few pointers. So you should continue around your brim, and then you just keep knitting. So now, I went all the way around. Well, almost. Still got a couple left to go. But as you can see, I have knitting on both sides. And all my pegs are in, just so you know. My working yarn is here. And before I do those last couple stitches, I might want to wrap this just to get it out of the way. My working yarn and my tail is all sealed in here. So now I'm going to quickly do the last stitches. I'm just gonna and now I just need to loop over what I just brought up. It's a little tight. So it's A-okay though. I'll show you if you couldn't see. Now I can pull that undone or just keep it there. And now since we've done this beautiful loop over and it's flat, not curled, now you actually just keep knitting like we were before. Until you're done. And I'll see you when you're ready to bind off to make your hat. And so that's basically all there is to it. Oh, I split my yarn a little bit. Let me just... say okay. I'm just fixing it. If you ever split your yarn like this happens, just bring the yarn back together and act like it was never split. But you want to try not to split your yarn. Now, I'm running out of yarn and it's at the desired length. We need to bind off. So, I have it as long as I need it. About 9-10 inches. But to bind off, to get our hat off the loom, we'll need to get a needle, and we'll need to put it to our last bit of yarn. All we do is we slide it in the groove and slip the stitch off and just slide it off. Oh, my peg. Silly. And you slide it all the way through, make sure it doesn't get caught on anything, and you do this all the way around. I'm just going to show you a couple up close. You slip through, and you slide it off. Oh, it got caught over here. You don't want it to get caught. And the stitches are getting stuck on the tail here. You want all the stitches to go on the tail. So you just do this all the way around. So we've binded our hat off, but it's not done yet because it's not fully secured off. We still have our needle on and everything. So we've went all the way around our loom to put that aside, but it's all wide at the top. This is the part we need to be careful for. It's called gathered. It's where we tug, but we don't want to pull too hard. Our yarn might break, and then that's how it'll go up into a little top. But my dad helps me with this part, so try your best, but don't yank too hard and slowly do. And then just weave your yarn in and you're done. I hope you enjoyed making our Loom Knit hat. This is our hat all finished. I'm going to put it on to show you. This one happens to be for my grandma for Christmas. It's snug to keep her warm. And since it's for my grandma for Christmas, hi Grandma!